as we were walking on the graveyard, as you do, we stopped to have a look at a simple wooden cross that had been placed in the graveyard. And as we looked at it, the horizontal piece of the cross fell off.
Cardinal Fang! Fetch the comfy chair.
Yes, that's right. Pull up your comfy chair, grab a coffee, sit down and watch.
During the meanwhilest... No.
Well, hello, it's Dexter and me, and you join us on this glorious Saturday afternoon on top of the barren mountain high above the Swansea Valley. And I've come up here today for two reasons. One, I really like it up here. It's a lovely place to come and take pictures. I've been up here loads of times and filmed videos up here in the past. And two, I want to try out my new, well, not new now, but newish NODAL rail for panorama shots. Now, obviously, there's no great light to shoot a panorama today. So this is not a portfolio panorama. Excuse the alliteration, but this is very much just a test shot to come out and see if using a well set up NODAL rail helps with panoramas. Now, the reason I've come here as well to shoot a panorama is there's loads of things for the computer to kind of latch onto. There's hills, there's buildings, and of course there's the proliferation of wind turbines as well. So it's a good test of Lightroom or whatever you want to use as a panorama stitcher. It's a good test of the computer to see if it stitches them well. What I've done is I've shot, I think it's around about an 8-shot panorama from over there to over there, yeah, we'll see what the difference is with the NODAL rail in place and without, and see if it makes much of a difference. Now, as usual, I've leveled everything up with the tripod. It's all perfectly plumb, so that'll alleviate any problems there. And yeah, so what we'll do now is we'll shoot away and get these two panoramas shot. Like I said, the first one I will shoot actually with the camera in its normal position, centered over the tripod, or the actual sensor is centered over the tripod head. And secondly then, with the NODAL rail in place, where it is obviously centered over the sort of aperture point of the camera. So yeah, let's get this shot now. I am focusing. I'm going to focus on the horizon. Everything's in manual, everything. So yeah, I'll be focusing on the horizon. 2-second timer. And let's just make sure this is absolutely level and plumb. There you go. Right then, and let's just let's shoot away. Right. Well, that's all the images here shot. Right. I'm going to tell you a little story about this place now. Years and years ago, a friend of mine asked me to accompany her to this chapel, more precisely to the graveyard. She was looking for a relative's grave. And as we were walking on the graveyard, as you do, we stopped to have a look at a simple wooden cross that had been placed in the graveyard. And as we looked at it, the horizontal piece of the cross fell off. Oh my word, was that quite a scary moment. And now I'm not a supernatural believer. I do not believe in the paranormal at all. I believe that everything has an explanation. And a couple of summers ago, I was up here one really still summer evening, taking a picture of the chapel at sunset, which I'll pop up on screen now for you to see. And as I was sort of in between shots and thinking of changing filters, I heard, and bear in mind, there's nowhere to live around here. There are a couple of farmhouses, but they are like, I don't know, probably half a mile away, as crow flies. And I heard children giggling, as if they were, you know, sort of hiding in and amongst the gravestones there. I had a quick look, and there was absolutely nobody else around, nobody here at all. So I rather quickly packed up and came home. And but thinking about it, it was such a still evening. I guess that there were probably kids playing in one of the farmhouses in the distance, and with it being so still, their laughs and their little giggles were carrying all the way to me at the chapel. Anyway, yeah, so it's a lovely place to come. Don't come here if you believe in ghosts. Right, that's it from Dexter and me here. What we'll do now is we'll go home, back to the office, where I will go through the how I set up or found the nodal point of my lens. And then what we will also do then is get both these panoramas up on screen and have a look at them both before and after stitching and see really if it's made any difference at all using the nodal rail, or whether I have completely and utterly wasted £12 and more importantly an hour or so of my and your valuable time. Right then, so let's get home and let's get cracking on the computer. Right, see you soon. Oh, I can't see myself now. Oh, I'm so attractive. Right, it's no wonder we haven't got loads of lady subscribers. Right then, well, here we are, back in the house after our little trip up to the Barren Mountain. It's the next day, it's Sunday morning, and yeah, I've put the images, loaded them up into Lightroom and stitched them. Now I'm not going to go through how to do that again. If you want to know how, I'll link up to one of my previous panorama videos above. But looking at the images, I'll put the first one up first, obviously. This is the one shot without the nodal rail, and you can see around the edge there are quite a lot of sort of missing pixels, down to, I would imagine, the effect of parallax. Yeah, and then if I put up the image shot with the nodal rail and the camera or the lens placed over its nodal point, you can see there are far fewer empty pixels. Now, nothing else was changed. I didn't move the tripod at all. I didn't change the level of the tripod whatsoever. So this is all down, it was a controlled experiment. This is all down to the nodal rail. So yeah, I'm quite happy with it. I'll pop up the processed image now. Now, this is no means a portfolio image. This was just an experiment yesterday, but I still processed the image as best I could. Yeah, so that is the effect of the nodal rail. Right, how did I actually get the nodal point for the lens? Well, what I did was went out into my garden with my GFX 50R on its tripod, all leveled up and everything. I put two other tripods, one about 3 meters away and one about 5 meters away, I guess, at the bottom of the garden, lined them up, and then you could see that as I was panning across,
they would seem to diverge only slightly. So I got to the point where they would diverge the most, and then slid the camera back and forth on the nodal rail until that divergence disappeared. When I panned back and forth across again, and the poles remained, or the tripods remained in line. Yeah, so luckily I haven't got a mark where on the nodal rail that is, because it's as far back as the nodal rail will go in my tripod. Effectively, what you want to do is you want to make sure that the where light converges in your lens, so where the aperture is effectively, that is centered over the pivot point of your tripod, or the rotational point of your tripod, and not the plane of focus, which it normally is when you put your camera on a tripod and swivel it around. So instead of it swiveling around the base of the camera, it's now swiveling around the aperture point of the lens. I think that's the science behind it anyway. Yeah, one other thing you need to make sure is that your camera is centered, so horizontally over the center of your tripod. Now, luckily for me, with the GFX 50R, the tripod thing is directly over the center of, or directly under the center of the sensor. If yours isn't, then you may need to invest in either an L bracket or an L nodal rail. I think you can get, so you can move it both that way and that way. But yeah, I think you can see that if you do shoot a fair few panoramas, and I do, that investing in a nodal rail can yield better results. Anyway, I hope I didn't scare you too much with the ghost tales from the barren mountain yesterday. I'm not a supernatural paranormal person, but I have had a couple of strange experiences when out and about taking pictures, and once on my bike years ago, and perhaps I'll share those with you on a Halloween special next month. Yeah. How do you fancy that? Ghost stories from the camera bag, from the camera bag to the grave. There we are. Right, there we are then. That's it from Dexter and me, and as usual, thank you so much for watching. We really do appreciate every view we get. I mean, love getting your comments on our videos. Dexter particularly enjoys reading them. He's a very good reader, you know. Right then, stay safe, stay well. I'm losing it now. I am definitely going insane. Stay safe, stay well, and Dexter and I will see you on Tuesday, when I'm going to give you a little bit of an update about my Cadences that I'm hoping to sell this year, or if not this year, then for next. Right, that's it. See you soon. Bye bye.
When the outside temperature rises and the meaning is oh so clear, 1001 yellow daffodils begin to dance in front of you, oh dear. Are they trying to tell you something? You're missing that one final screw. You're simply not in the pink, my dear. To be honest, you haven't got a clue. I'm going slightly mad. I'm going slightly mad. It finally